But what God is really doing is judging the evil,
Yeah.
and He is getting rid of the evil systems and the evil structures within the earth, so that He can reestablish the earth in His kingdom pattern.
Greetings once again, and thank you for joining us this evening to continue our discussion on the book of Revelations. We are on chapter 16, and we are going through each chapter at a high level in a summary manner based on a study that we're doing here at Active Living Ministries on our Wednesday nights. I'm Kevin Meyer, and this is Roger Roth, and we welcome you into this discussion. And we just concluded chapter 15. As we were saying, it's a promising chapter of that seemed to come to a conclusion of things. Of the 144,000 are standing before the throne of God, and they're singing a song of Moses and the song of the Lamb, and quite celebratory in nature. And it's a prelude to, I think, chapter 16, which to me, again, speaks about how this happens, right? So
Yes.
You have this picture of the end result, and now we're kind of showing what these seven messengers or seven angels are going to be presenting to us through these bowls of wrath.
Yeah, in the first three chapters of this, well, actually, chapter 2 and 3, Jesus had these pronouncements to the church, and what happens to those with eyes to see and ears to hear,
Yeah.
and basically those who don't have eyes to see and ears to hear. And then the remainder of the book is taking what the foundation that he laid in those two chapters and plus chapter 1, and explaining it and expanding on it as we go through. So what we see is there is a focus always on the Old Testament and Israel and Egypt, and a focus on the Old Testament prophets and Israel in captivity with Babylon. And these two make up the conditions in which this those who read this book, in which they're finding themselves. And so like this here now, we have the pouring out of the bowls, right? They are the seven last plagues.
Yeah.
Right. Where do we see the plagues? Well, we see the plagues both in the land of Egypt with Israel, and we also see them further on in the prophets. And so the source material for much of what we're reading comes from those two areas of the Bible, but actually the whole Bible. As we go through this study, I was looking the other night, and there are 404 verses in this book of Revelations, but we probably have conservatively over 2,500 scriptures that we reference related to those 404 scriptures to explain what those 404 scriptures are actually saying to us. And so, so we're looking at this and using those scriptures to give us understanding, and they give us enormous understanding if we have eyes to see and ears to hear.
Yeah, it's a very exciting book, actually. As we've discussed many times, this is about the revealing of Jesus Christ within us. As Paul had said on the road to Damascus, it pleased God to reveal his son in him. And we feel John was going through this kind of same experience, and he was giving voice to it and giving us direction and understanding as to what's happening within us, as we pursue this in our own lives and in our own Christian walks. So it really it deconstructs this fearful intrepidation we have in studying the book of Revelation.
Yes.
We've been given so much from Hollywood, or even looking at this purely from a historical perspective, but instead, approaching it from this perspective, and even the traditional thought of the rapture, as we've discussed. that really has this kind of escapism approach, and I don't think that's what God is doing. I don't think He's trying to get us out of here as much as He's trying to get into the world and affect the world through the manifestation of the nature of Jesus Christ within His people.
Exactly. The thought on the part of some is that, okay, God's fed up and He's going to put an end to all this, right? In one way, if you look at it, it's like He isn't capable of bringing to pass what He wanted to do in the beginning. It's like he set this world up. Adam and Eve failed. He sent Jesus to bring salvation, but He wasn't quite able to deliver the whole world. Yeah. He has to destroy the world and then bring back a few that are saved and enlightened, bring them back to restore and to repopulate the earth and so on. It's a crazy way of looking at like God isn't powerful enough. Yeah. The devil is so powerful that actually he's going to overcome. And he's going to make it so that God has to destroy the earth and everybody in it.
Yeah, except for that 144,000. They're the lucky ones,
Right. Or those who happen to have their head cut off, as martyrs, Yeah.
So here we have now, then we've got, as you said earlier, the seven messengers or the seven angels are bringing forth these seven vials, and these vials are bowls of the plagues, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about how the plagues, we can look at the scriptures and find a discussion about plagues in various places.
Yes. Yeah, it's interesting that we can look. You can, and I think that's part of this. You can look at almost anything in two different ways, right? And probably multiple ways, but at least two distinct ways. If you are conditioned to see something in one way. That's the way you see it.
Yeah.
Until it's like one of these images where they have all these dots in different shapes, and there's really an image hidden in there, but you can't see it. But if you look at it long enough, all of a sudden it comes out, and you see, like when you have your eyes tested, oh, that's the number 9, because you have vision to see it. Yeah. And it's almost the way it is with this book, and actually with the whole Bible. So they have these vials of wrath that they're pouring out, these angels, 7 vials out upon the earth. Well, when you pour something out, it means you are emptying it, right?
Yeah.
So this is like the fullness. This is like the fulfillment of what God is doing. And He is bringing this wrath or this passion against evil, not against people. But we do suffer consequences for the way we live. So is there going to be pain, and is there going to be discomfort and destruction in certain ways to certain individuals? Yeah, but not because God's causing it, but as a consequence of their own actions. But what God is really doing is judging the evil. And He is getting rid of the evil systems and the evil structures within the earth, so that He can reestablish the earth in His kingdom pattern.
Yeah, and what we've done during our study on Wednesdays is we go through each one of these bowls and we discuss them in depth as to, well, what do the scriptures tell us about what that bowl represents? Because we have loathsome sores, then we have the sea turns to blood, and waters turn to blood, then men are scorched, then darkness and pain, and my favorite is the 6th one where the Euphrates dries up, And then the 7th bowl, the number of 7, right, being the fulfillment. The earth is utterly shaken, right? Yeah. And who can't relate to that today, right? It feels like there's an utterly shaking world going on.
There's a spiritual earthquake. Yeah.
Right. And, I think we want to frame this like, well, there's this battle between good and evil. And, it's, as you were saying, evil is eventually going to win down here on earth, and we're going to get taken up out of here to prevent us from having to experience that. But, the Israelites, Israelites, they were in the land of Egypt when the plagues came into the land of Egypt. It's not like they were taken up out of there before the plagues came.
Well, yeah, exactly. Now look at some of the imagery that you were just speaking about. Okay, the rivers turned to blood, right? The land turned to darkness. Where do we see this in the Bible?
In the plagues in Egypt.
Yeah,
right?
in the plagues, and these are right in the plagues. So what he's doing is showing us the false gods and false images,
Yeah.
and his destruction of those things within people. And then you speak about the river Euphrates, right? So it's Euphrates, by one of the Bible commentators, is that which is fruitful. Okay, so what happens? That which is fruitful dries up, and then what happens?
The kings of the east
The
crossed
kings
the
of
river.
the kings of the east, right? Because in this chapter we have the kings of the earth, but we also have the kings of the east. Because out of the east is the new day, right? It's the dawning. It's
where
where
Jerusalem is, or
yeah, exactly. Coming to that, the way the temple was oriented toward the east. All these things speak of this new or this coming day or the kings of the east. Oh no, these kings of the east are 200 million. Chinese and they're going to come on horses and they're going to cross they can't cross the river unless it dries up, right? Like when in history hasn't an army been able to cross a river, right? But it parallels back or talks back to the time in the Bible, right, when the Medes and Persians destroyed Babylon, and historically the way they did that was they rerouted the river, and when they rerouted the river, they went into Babylon and destroyed it. So what was it? It was the destruction of Babylon, which is what we're talking about in these chapters, the coming down of this false religious system, and what that means.
Yeah, and as you were just saying, the in Egypt, the plagues came to dethrone these false gods and so forth. And you sense, if you're a Christian with your eyes open, you sense that today there's this real manifestation of truth right now, and it's causing great conflict. It's causing a great shaking for those that have set their sights on, or maybe not even through any fault of their own, but have been engulfed in this religion of false gods, be it what we would understand as religion or just philosophy. There's a rise in paganism today, and all that kind of stuff.
God is doing some amazing things in our day. Amazing things. Yeah. But you can lose sight of that if you're looking at the negative, right? But he is bringing restoration. He is bringing us into the manifestation of the literal kingdom. We're in the kingdom in the spirit realm, but bringing us into this literal kingdom and the establishment of this literal kingdom. So Armageddon, which one of the Bible dictionaries describes that word to mean the declaring of the message. The declaring of the message, or Megiddo, which is the hill of the declaring of the message, Armageddon, the Mount of Megiddo. So, so what is happening in this great battle that is happening there? There is a message being declared. And it is being declared from this mountain. Oh no, this is where the blood is going to be up to the horses' bridles, and this is that 30-mile long valley. And when you stand there and you look across, it's an immense valley. But no, that blood, there wouldn't be enough blood in the world, to put an inch on top of it. But no, this is going to be up to the horses, because they don't understand. Many people don't understand the imagery and where that is found in the Bible and what this is actually telling us. That's why if we lived in the first century, we'd have a much clearer understanding of what this book actually means.
Yes, I agree. And, this is not to say that we have all the answers to everything that this means. What I think we're trying to articulate is that, we started our study quite literally almost 2 years ago as we started looking at this, and it's been a discovery process. And I'm always amazed as we get to another chapter how, oh hey, what we discovered back when we went through chapter 2 or chapter 3 is now become more clear in this chapter. And I also find it interesting that, one of the tenets of teaching somebody something, what do they say? Always tell them it 3 times. Always explain something 3 times to somebody so that they can gain understanding. And that's what John is doing in this book. He's telling us it one way, then he tells it to us another way, and he tells it to us a third way or a fourth way. And by the time we get through it, we have greater understanding as a result of that teaching process. So really a beautiful thing, and it is very exciting.
Yeah, it is. And it has made such a difference in those who've gone through this study with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
In confidence, in perspective, in the joy of God, in understanding, in purpose.
Yeah, I was going to say meaning and purpose.
Yeah, walking toward destiny.
Yeah.
Understanding that we are part of the answer.
Yeah, amen.
We are not subject to the chaos.
Yeah.
We are part of the answer that is coming upon the earth.
Amen. So, all right, we should end it there. And we just want to thank you for tuning in. And if you'd like some more information at the end of this video, there's some links that you can click on, or there is some email information that you can reach out to us. And we'd appreciate having a discussion with you. So thank you again, and God bless.
Yeah, thank you.